Hey everyone, I'm Reggie. In this video, I'll be covering some of the best travel outlets, extension cords, and battery banks for use when traveling. So one pretty common hack is people will actually pack with them an entire power strip, one of those long 6 outlet type of strips. The downside to that is there are much better options out there. This is, after all my research, what I think is one of the best travel outlets out there. It's made by Van Bon. What I like about this, it's the only ones I could find that have universal adapters on the outlet themselves. So this is important because say you're at another country and you want to plug in your laptop, but then the desk lamp that is at the actual hotel as well. You won't be able to do that because the outlets will be different. Or if you're an American traveler and you're traveling with a European and they have their own outlet, this allows them to not use another adapter on top of it. It also has USB charging outlets, which I like as well. Those are very important. And I like how small and compact this is. I also like that it comes with this long cable that's already attached. So it's a lot more manageable to pack, and look how long this thing is. I mean, you really can get some cordage out of this. And one of the other factors that I found that a lot of other travel adapters don't have is they're usually 3-pronged. I love that this one is 2-pronged because there are some places where I've tried to use travel adapters or just an outlet in general, and because it's a 3-prong, it won't fit in some 2-prong only outlets. So this is truly universal in my opinion. And it's probably my top pick for travel outlets as a whole. All right, next I'll be going over probably what's very common is these single travel adapters. I really like these square versions ones. There's a bunch out there. I just like the black ones. Things to consider, there's literally hundreds of these out there. Get one that probably has a good amount of reviews, of course, but look for ones that have outlets on them. These started coming out a few years ago, and you probably shouldn't pick one up unless it has them on there. And start looking for the ones that have Type-C options, and this one also has smart charging options for USB. So some of these USB outlets, they'll just keep charging your device and actually overcharge and damage your battery. So it's very important to try and opt in for any kind of USB option with smart charging. So you can pick this up at Amazon or anywhere else. Pretty common to find. I don't like some of the other options that you have to use for different adapters and pull in and pull out because it's just too much to worry about. You lose parts. With this, you're always good to go. And I always carry 2 of these on me because you can lose everything else, but this is probably the most important thing you can carry. It's everything you need in one. So earlier I mentioned using this to travel with. This is what I was using for a while until I realized that, to be honest, most electronics we use day to day, you can be charged through USB. Outside of my laptop and maybe 1 or 2 other things, I don't need too many outlets. And I'm just better off using multiple chargers that just have USB. So I did some research, and I honestly think that using what's called a docking station, this is a 6-port USB docking station. It's much smaller compared to this. It has some cordage on it here you can detach and pack off to the side, but this will charge 6 USB devices at once. And I really like it because it's so much more packable. And of course the same cordage here, it's still really long. So you can actually go to another country, plug your universal adapter in here into the wall, and then have this bad boy over here either near your bedside or whatever you need. So what I normally do is I actually have a bunch of different cables, micro USB, Type-C, a bunch of lightning cables of varying length, always plugged into this thing. So here's what it looks like, all plugged in. Well, I'm actually missing one. I don't have an extra cable here, but yeah, I think you kind of get the point here. With this, you have so much space here where you can plug into a wall and then run it all the way to your bed wherever you need and have one dedicated area charging multiple devices. Your GoPro, your iPhone, your iPod, your AirPods, anything you need to charge, you can basically charge through USB. because when I travel, I move around a lot. I don't want to keep unplugging and plugging things in. It's very, very annoying. And all these cords actually get in the way, and it just looks ugly, and I can't stand it when you're trying to pack all this stuff when it's just all over the place. So what I do when it comes to packing a lot of my electronics is I use a packing cube. These are kind of more rectangular shaped, and what I do is I shove it all in here so it's all connected at once. Everything's all in here. If I want to, I can also even fit this inside here as well. So when I get to a hotel, I immediately pull this out, pull it out of my bag, and I just lay it out and connect to one outlet, and from there I can charge multiple devices all at once. When you're looking for a docking station, the two most popular brands out there I would recommend are Anker and RavPower. They're the top two brands. You basically can get anything from that brand and feel comfortable you got top of the line stuff. This one is made by Anker specifically, and they're always updating. It's a huge cat and mouse game. When you're looking for these, you want to make sure that you're getting as many smart charging options as possible. This one has 3, and there's a little symbol over there for smart charging. And you want the most watts you can get, and yeah, so this one's made by Anker and RavPower. They come up with different iterations all the time. I'd highly suggest picking one of these up. All right, next up, battery banks. We've all seen them around before. There's all different types of battery banks. Like I said, the top 2 brands, Anker and RavPower. I really wouldn't mess with anything else, with the exception of making sure that it meets certain criteria. So all these battery banks, you want to make sure you're getting the most milliamp hours as possible. So that's the amount of battery capacity that these devices hold. For example, the iPhone X is about 2,700 milliamp hours. So if you're getting a battery bank with only 600 milliamp hours, that's nothing, because to fully charge your most recent iPhones, you're looking at close to 3,000 milliamp hours is what you need to fully charge something. This one is made by RavPower instead. And this one I think does 20,000 milliamp hours. And it has 3 USB ports, which I really like. Some of these bigger battery banks will actually put out more power to charge your bigger devices, whereas some of these other ones won't. So this is what I used to do a lot. I would carry one of these smaller ones around and then one big one while I was on use on the plane. More planes nowadays have USB charging, but some of the smaller ones don't. But I would usually carry on one small one and one of these big ones here. But I've gotten to the point where I realize it's actually better to carry maybe 2 or 3 of these and always have one charging when you're at your hotel or at your Airbnb or your hostel, and then have the other 2 in your bag whenever you need them to switch on or off. So another thing to consider, in my opinion, built-in cables. So if you have an Android phone, you want a built-in Android cable. If you have an iPhone, like myself, I like to use iPhone. I like to have built-in lightning cables. So I generally only try and get battery banks with built-in lightning cables. So this one here has it there, and it just pulls off like this. And then I'm using my phone right now to film, but if you want, you just plug it in and then you're good to go. You can kind of hold it right there like that. Some of these bigger battery banks, the bigger the size doesn't necessarily mean the bigger the capacity. You always want to look at how much it's storing. You want them a little bit wide, but as thin as possible because they fit nice in the pocket. Some of them are very thin and they feel really good. They almost feel like just a smaller cell phone. So I usually have one in one pocket, my phone in the other pocket, and I'm usually good to go throughout the entire day. Another consideration too is some of the ones that get really, really thin, they don't have the option for USB charging. So it's great if you just want to charge your iPhone because you have the included lightning cable, but say you need to charge something else you weren't expecting that you needed to charge. It's great to have that USB option here. Of course, most of them come with flashlights that you really never need. The first thing I do when I leave is I turn my Wi-Fi off and I set my phone to low power. And then I also decrease my brightness. And I also turn off Bluetooth if I'm not using it. Those settings combined will save your phone's battery significantly. So just get into the habit when you leave while traveling to set those settings accordingly so that you make sure you last the whole time, because you never know when you're going to stay out later than you expected. And I always make sure I have at least 25% of battery. I never try and use that unless I absolutely have to. All right, the last thing I want to go over were rechargeable AA batteries. Probably may have not have seen this, so it's not as popular, but I think they're really, really cool. People that use rechargeable batteries, they're not really needed all that often, but every now and then you will need them for certain electronics, whether it's going to be a TV remote, a weird piece of camera equipment, or anything like that. I personally use AAs for this travel fan that I have. It's AA, it's powered by a AA, and when it gets hot, I just like to, oh, this battery's dead, sweet. Well, I got other ones here. I guess got to recharge this one as well. But it comes in this little case, and each one of these batteries is 1,250 milliamp hours, which is a pretty standard size battery capacity. What I like about them is they're USB charging, right? So you're not carrying around a separate docking station that takes up a huge amount of space. You're actually just, when you want to recharge these, you just lift up this little top here. It has like this little spandex type of material. I don't know if you can see that there, but it just comes right off, and you plug it in, and there's little light turns red when it's charging, and then when it's done, it extinguishes. But it's pretty sick because you can use your portable, you can charge it with your portable battery bank. Say I want to charge it here, if I needed it in a pinch, which is another reason why, like I said, you would want to get one of these battery banks, because you never know when you're gonna have to charge something through USB specifically. These are the options to consider using when traveling, and I hope if I provided you any type of value whatsoever, please consider subscribing and or just at least liking this video. I really appreciate it, and until the next one, see ya.